Hi, my name is Sydney Sharp. I am a grad student at the University of Denver, currently in the MS Management program. The session I attended was called Point Forward Live with Andre Iguodala, Evan Turner, and Megan Rapinoe. It was a live recording of a podcast, which is super cool. And the podcast is called Point Forward because Andre Iguodala and Evan Turner are both retired NBA point forwards. And they were interviewing Megan Rapinoe, who, if you don't know who she is, was the captain of the women's national team, soccer team, and won 2 World Cups, and also is a gold medalist from the Olympics. Literally my notes, the first thing it says is, Megan is funny. She is unfiltered, guys. I mean, I guess I should know that by now. I'm a huge fan of the US national team. Used to be a pretty big fan of her. I'm all for using your platform for social justice, but I think there's some points where I think she got maybe a little bit carried away, and got less about actually fighting for those social justice things and more of a how much can I kind of piss off the press is what it seemed like. Because like when she started getting a couple lickings online, then it seemed to be less about the social justice part and more like F you guys a little bit. And I think this past World Cup was just a really tough one for us. A tough one for her. It was kind of towards the end of her career. She was kind of aging out, didn't perform that well. And she still had a lot to say. And it was just funny because during this podcast, she was kind of saying like, yeah, I'm allowed to act like this because I was the shit, basically. So she said, sports is not why I'm here. It's the vehicle for why I'm here. So she said that, like, she doesn't isn't religious, doesn't believe in God, but she wasn't put on this earth to be an athlete. She was put on this earth to, do good and change the world. And luckily for her, she's very talented. I mean, she also had to work for it, but very talented athlete. So she could use that platform to do good. And she wasn't just doing it, just her. She was saying how she was speaking on behalf of the national team, and she would go to all of them first and be like, hey guys, is this cool? Is this how I should say it? And they seemed like they were on board, which was interesting to hear because sometimes I felt like she was speaking out and I didn't know like how much the team supported her, or if it was just like something she wanted to do for her own benefit, for her own press. Like any press is good press, even if, yeah, she was saying how she was leveraging her talent to do pretty risky things because she was like, they're still going to play me. Like, how could they not play me? I'm too good. Like, they would lose too much. So basically, I can do anything I want, which is not always the case. So, she like took some risk because like Colin Kaepernick kind of got exiled from the NFL because of the things he was doing for social justice. And she said the madder people were, the more dead on she was. She said people only get mad at you because they know it's the truth, which sometimes could be true, sometimes no. I'm not sure. And all of them just talked about how you can't handle the mental pressure it takes to be an athlete, then you just can't do it. Even if you are the most talented on the field, if everyone is talented at the pro level. So if you mentally can't handle it, then there's a million other guys like ready to take your place. You could probably do just as good a job as but a better job if they're more mentally focused than you. They talked about having the clutch gene. I think of it as like Caitlin Clark who can just sink threes. She's going to change the game, any game she's in. You come in and you play the same role or higher, no matter the pressure that you're under. And she gave Alex Morgan credit for leading the national team through a commercially pretty dry period. For anyone that knows, like women's sports in the past just haven't got that much media coverage, but everyone was really clinging on to Alex Morgan on the national team because, I mean, maybe not for the best reasons. It was mostly because she's pretty. She got cover of Sports Illustrated, but that's what they needed at that time, and she did it for them, and she was scoring lots of goals too. So I think women's sports has come a long way from then, but sometimes in order to get the coverage you need, you aren't doing the things that maybe you'd love to do. But now I heard another speech about her today that she founded Together, which is a media company for women's sports. So, she's doing good now. I mean, it's not like using your looks is a bad thing, but. And then basically Megan Rapinoe just said, like Andre and Evan asked, what can they do? What can men do to help, women in sports? And she said, basically, they just don't need the comparison between men's and women's sports, because you can just appreciate both for what they are. You don't have to be like, oh, well, men do this better, and men can shoot from farther, and men use a heavier ball, and they, run more miles per game. Like, we're biologically different, and that's okay. So if you can just appreciate women playing sports and what they do on the field, and then appreciate what men do on the field as almost completely two different sports, is totally fine. So I learned a lot from this. I still don't know my stance on Megan Rapinoe. She is not very humble, but I guess if you're very good at your job, like she was, then you don't have to be that humble. I don't know. But also I did like the message, or I did really like that she was using her platform for good. And it's interesting to think about, the differences sometimes in men doing that compared to women doing that. But I think that's also changing a lot, just as women's sports are getting bigger and as people are appreciating, I think, women a little bit more in the media, treating them with more respect. And I've gone to a lot of sporting things now, and I just now more than ever know that I want to try as hard as I can to work in women's sports. So exciting. Thanks.